I'm very pleased to welcome to the stage Ulli Spankowski, CPO and Managing Director at Boerse Stuttgart Digital. So let's give him a warm round of applause. Ulli?
Perfect, and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ulli. As I have already been introduced, I work with Boerse Stuttgart. I head the digital business there, and to get you a little bit of more information what Boerse Stuttgart actually is, I have a very, very small commercial snapshot here, but I think it's also important to mention a couple of those things. We're the sixth largest exchange group in Europe, about 700 people. We have markets and operate markets and exchanges in Scandinavia, Germany, Switzerland, and have hubs and locations basically in various different locations in Germany, Sweden, Madrid, Milan, Ljubljana, Zurich, Stuttgart, where our headquarters is. And most importantly, Boerse Stuttgart Group is probably in Europe the largest crypto player from the traditional side and from the traditional perspective spoken. In the next couple of minutes, I'm going to give you my view on what actually changed due to the fact that we have a European regulation for crypto within Europe. Before we look into how actually MiCAR has changed the landscape, I would actually like to have a view back on what actually happened over the last couple of years. It's always good to look back, and one of my favorite examples, it's kind of like a stereotype of how the financial industry, in my perspective, has treated crypto over the years and also changed their mindset toward Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And that's why I have Larry here with us. 2017, 2018, was completely the whole story that you know from the beginning. Bitcoin, crypto is bad, money laundering, it's all scam, no use, and actually also no demand. At least this is what those large financial institutions claimed, that there is not really demand. But then, in parallel, to the same time, all the retailers going into Coinbase, et cetera, all these crypto apps and crypto exchanges. So there must be something. Now, the problem is, if you've stated that this all is scam and it's really not ideal for a company to go into the crypto direction, how do you get the turnaround? Well, obviously, you need a bridge. And this is why a lot of these financial institutions over the years 20, 21, 22 said, okay, it's all about tokenization, it's all about digital securities, etc. This is the way forward. And then all of a sudden, well, mindset changed again, obviously because everybody realized it's a huge business case and we're missing a lot of opportunity, and that brought BlackRock to where they are, amongst the top crypto asset holders globally. So if we look into what's actually driving that adoption and that also the change in mindset of those companies, I think regulation is the main differentiator here. While at the very beginning you had these crypto pioneer companies, lots of them actually out of Switzerland, but then moving forward, obviously also across other regions in Europe. First banks and private banks and B2B partners started to introduce crypto 2020, 2022. And that was also particularly, if we look into Germany as one part of Europe. A big change there because in Germany in 2020 they introduced the crypto custody license. And this was the first time that we realized, okay, now something's seriously going to change. Before, we obviously had retail business, a lot of interest from retailers, but as soon as the crypto custody license was there and mandatory in Germany, a lot of institutional claims came. So we, as an infrastructure provider to those companies, got a lot of requests. Okay, how can we actually set up custody? How can we start trading? And this is where it changed. And then you have very quickly, obviously, the neobanks, the neobrokers jumping on it. And now, as the next stage, it's, so to say, the very, very large corporate banks that are going into it. So what's basically the big difference prior to MiCAR and now from a industry perspective? I think obviously you can roll out your business models across Europe. That makes a huge difference, particularly for larger European banks that have customers all over. You don't need to have the nitty-gritty problems that you had prior to MiCAR, that you had to go for a license in country A, B, C, France, Germany, Italy. And by the way, we did that already quite early, and I can tell you it was super painful to get licensed in Germany, to get licensed in Italy, to get licensed in Austria. And each country had their little, differences in what actually the requirements were. So it took us an immense amount of time and money to do that, but obviously we were there prior to MiCAR 2021, 2022. We already had businesses established in those countries. But obviously all that is, thanks to passporting, gone. And the other very important thing for those institutions, I think, is you have clear guardrails what to do and what you should not do. So the question now is, what's going to happen in the future? Does everybody already have a Coinbase account or a Bitpanda account or you name it? I mean, there's a lot of those offerings out there. So what we did, we asked about 6,000 investors, which is representative for Germany, Italy, France, and Spain on their investment behavior and how they consider crypto and how interested they are in crypto in the future. And over the next few slides, I'm going to show you some of those results. It's actually pretty interesting. Obviously, before we go into that, I think no real big news here, but in each of those countries, Germany, Spain, Italy, France, you have large cooperative banks that go mainstream into crypto. As for instance, the German case, you take the Z Bank, which is the mother or the central institution for all German Volksbanks. They have about 30 million clients in Germany, or the German Sparkassen, they have about 50 million clients. And both of those huge banking groups are going to roll out crypto for retail this year. For Volksbanken, Sparkassen, probably this or next year. So giving access to crypto to almost 50 to 70 million people. Okay, and then if we look at the slide here, what basically what we asked people is, have you previously invested in crypto? Again, 6,000 investors, and what was actually very surprising to me was, okay, a quarter already said, hey, yes, I've invested in crypto, which is quite significant. However, it also means that 75% are still there to be conquered, right? So there is big interest in crypto, and this is also what we asked. So within the next 5 years, do you plan to invest in crypto, or do you, or have you invested and will reinvest again? And you're also over a third across the different countries. And again, this is representative numbers with over 6,000 people that have been questioned on these different questions. Said, okay, yeah, I will or have invested and will reinvest. So then the question is, if you do invest, where do you go? And what are the key factors that you actually look at? And here, regulation is key. So even though over the last 15 years, lots of retailers have invested in crypto completely unregulated in areas and countries where they might not even know where exactly the country is. When you ask them, okay, now, if you have the chance to basically decide, do you want to have a regulated or a non-regulated crypto offering, obviously, majority says no. It needs to be regulated. I really look into the fact, I mean, we've had all the scams and the frauds that came up, and I think this is a very important differentiator. So then also we ask, okay, do you think that European regulation actually make crypto safer? And here, obviously, not everybody is a compliance and legal pro, but also here, interesting, I think 40% is quite significant, and almost 50% actually think European regulation is helping the crypto industry to basically be more on a broader level recognized as safe and attractive. All right, what does that mean? That means financial institutions cannot neglect the fact that there is still a significant amount of the market to be conquered. I think everyone from the traditional banks and the finance industry that is not thinking of integrating a crypto offering will have a problem, because either their customers will move to another bank that has a crypto offering, or they will completely start doing business elsewhere at a crypto native offering, for instance. So it's really absolutely necessary for these banks to keep their customers to start having a crypto offering. And obviously here do we come in place. We, as a infrastructure provider for crypto trading and custody across Europe, we were the first with the MiCAR license in Germany, do provide services to all these companies and banks in order to help them set up their crypto offering. And that's it. Thanks a lot.
Welcome to Signal Week.